So I'm David Simmons, and I said I do stupid spot tricks. And so Randy wanted me to talk a little bit about kind of some of the stuff that I've done. Because one of the things that I do is I sit around and much to my boss's dismay, I just order stuff and then see if I can hook it up to a sunspot. So I went to a university that I won't name and met with their engineering faculty, and he said that they've been working with modes for a couple of years, and that he had a graduate student that had been working for about 9 months with their modes in a GPS unit, and he was only a few months away from being able to get the mode to do GPS. And I thought that just sounded kind of wrong. So I went home and I went to our other favorite website, which is Spark Fun Electronics, and I ordered this little GPS unit for $50 without asking permission. But, and it came the next day, in the morning by FedEx, and that afternoon I called the guy up at the university and said, hey, guess what? Go look at this website. There's a Google map that has a pin in it, and that's where my spot is, because the spot is sending GPS data, and it's now on a Google map. And he kind of freaked out, and I don't think that graduate student likes me very much anymore, but they have now, because of that, they've changed basically their entire sensor networks platform curriculum to sunspots, because they could actually get something done. They're now, the little robot that Roger drives around, we've got it in the booth if you come by. It's made of nothing but 2 servos. We call it a Euler bot, because Steve Euler over there made them originally. It's 2 continuous rotation servos glued back to back with a battery pack glued on top, a sunspot glued on top of that, and one of the little model airplane drag wheels. And they drive around. And these guys are now building them by the dozens. So this is what I've done. Was anybody in town for Maker's Fair this weekend? Have you ever been to Maker's Fair? Okay, Maker's Fair is just completely insane. They build stuff out of anything. And so Roger wanted a robot that would climb an Ethernet cable.
The Ethernet drop comes from the ceiling.
In that conference, the Ethernet drop comes from the ceiling. So I should turn the battery on. This is Larry, the cable guy, and it climbs a cable. And it's really simple. It's 3 servos and a battery pack and a sunspot. And the hardware actually took me...
You started Friday afternoon.
I started Friday afternoon, and then I actually restarted on Saturday evening because I realized at Maker Fair on Saturday that this was just never going to work the way I had done it. And so I went and re-engineered it. The software took me maybe 2 hours, an hour and a half, something like that. It's just... The other thing that I say a lot is about the emulator. I'm really grateful for the, as John said, I mean, we actually kind of thought you were stalking us for a while because you were coming out with all these great videos. It's like everyone's like, ooh, what's the new YouTube video from John? But thanks to the emulator, and please, if you haven't played with Sunspots, go download the SDK, go to the sunspotworld.com website, download the SDK. You can do everything that you can do with Sunspot with the emulator. And Pete likes this because I live on the East Coast, I travel out here, and it turns out if you get on an airplane, things will not go well for you for the rest of the day. But you can do all of that in the emulator. And you can design it, you can write the software, you can run it in the emulator, you can see that the pulse widths are going out correctly, you can actually read in sensor data for sensors that you don't have correctly in the emulator, and the software will all work. There's a hands-on lab tomorrow. How many of you are going to the hands-on lab? Anybody? If you're not signed up, you're kind of out of luck because it is sold out. But all the software for the hands-on lab I developed in the emulator, because I didn't actually have all the hardware around at any given time, so I developed it all in the emulator. Once it runs in the emulator, it runs on a Sunspot.
Can we go to question, Roger?
Yeah, let's go to questions.
No, we
So,
never- there was, wasn't there, just a
One
couple
more
of folks
video?
wanted to
Was there anybody else that wanted to say something about
show something?
what they're doing, show what they're doing, talk about what they're doing?
Yeah, I can talk about mine, I think, briefly.
Please do, there's a mic.